For decades now, China has startled the global automotive scene with a simple yet powerful tactic, introducing electric cars at jaw-dropping price points. Again and again, they've managed to combine low costs and decent performance in ways that make established automakers uneasy. Now, China has unveiled what might be its most alarming creation yet, a little electric car with a range many thought impossible at its price tag, inspiring both awe and fear in boardrooms worldwide. Meet the BYD Seagull. It's small, unassuming, and doesn't flaunt futuristic spaceship-like styling. No, it's quiet, almost too quiet. But that hush is precisely the point. In a world bursting with flashy EV prototypes and exorbitant sticker prices, the Seagull glides in gently with a price of around $11,000. And here's the kicker, it still manages a respectable 200-mile range. On paper, that combination sounds almost mythical, like a rumor you'd swap among car enthusiasts. Yet, it's real, and it's already rolling off production lines onto bustling Chinese streets. If you're a major automaker, this is your worst nightmare. A product that undercuts your offering so drastically that the only defense is to fight back or risk falling behind. But how did we get here? How did one of the world's biggest EV manufacturers manage to pull off something the rest of the industry has only fantasized about? Stick around, and by the end, you'll see why the BYD Seagull might just be the scariest low-priced EV to emerge from China yet, and what it might mean for the future of driving. The BYD Seagull is no large SUV, no family minivan. It's petite, a four-door hatchback that's agile enough to weave through jam-packed city traffic and small enough to fit snugly into any cramped parking space. Its design isn't about eye-catching lines or show-off angles. Instead, it's refreshingly understated. Think smooth curves, wide windows for visibility, and a simple interior that forgoes flashy gadgets. But don't let that modest exterior fool you. BYD is targeting a massive global audience of buyers who want a practical commuter car that doesn't break the bank, especially in places where daily driving errands don't demand the range of a high-end luxury EV. And in that niche, the Seagull fits perfectly. No fancy autopilot, number 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Just your everyday errands quietly zoomed through on an electric motor. The real bombshell is that price tag of around $11,000. That's the part making automakers around the world double-check their spreadsheets, because if a fully electric four-door hatchback can be sold for that little, who's going to spend $30,000, $40,000, or even $50,000 when they could get something that simply works? Sure, the Seagull won't be everyone's dream car. It might feel tight on a long road trip, and you won't see TikTokers racing supercars in it. But for a massive chunk of the population that just needs a reliable daily driver, BYD has brought the mountain to Muhammad. So, how exactly do you build an electric car with a decent range and sell it for a sum that seems closer to a budget phone plan than a brand new automobile? BYD's answers can be found in a few key areas: the production line, the materials, the batteries, and the manufacturing techniques that slice costs to the bone without sacrificing total reliability. When you step onto a typical car factory floor, you'll see hundreds of parts streaming in from dozens of suppliers, each one adding its markup. The final vehicle is a patchwork of different companies' components. However, BYD has long embraced a different philosophy: vertical integration. Rather than buying batteries from one giant, motors from another, and electronics from a third, BYD makes them in-house. That alone slashes costs and gives them control over every dimension: engineering, quality checks, and assembly speed. They've also optimized their factories to churn out vehicles faster, with fewer bottlenecks and seamless lines that minimize manual touches. In other words, they're not paying outside suppliers to handle these tasks. They handle them themselves. Let's face it, some EVs boast aluminum frames, carbon fiber panels, or cutting-edge composites that look and feel incredible, but they also spike the cost through the roof. The Seagull's body uses tried and tested affordable materials that keep the vehicle light but sturdy. You might notice a more plastic-heavy interior and simpler dashboard layout than some ultramodern EVs, yet these materials do the job. They are durable, they're inexpensive, and they keep weight low, which boosts efficiency. BYD even saves pennies in places most folks wouldn't think twice about, like a single wiper blade instead of two or standard side mirrors that can be produced en masse in large volumes. When you multiply these cost savers over thousands of cars, you start talking serious money. Perhaps BYD's crowning achievement is their Blade battery, a lithium iron phosphate, LFP, design that's rewriting the rules of EV battery tech. Traditional lithium-ion packs can guzzle up a huge chunk of the overall cost, not to mention come with safety concerns like thermal runaway. The Blade battery, however, is intentionally built to be safer and more affordable. Stab it with a nail, crush it, and it's still much less likely to explode or catch fire than older battery types. Moreover, it's arranged in a way that keeps packaging minimal. No large separate modules or complicated caging systems that add weight and cost. By placing battery cells tightly together in a blade formation, BYD cuts out extraneous components. Put plainly, the Blade battery delivers both reliability and affordability, two must-haves for a budget EV like the Seagull. Beyond the big breakthroughs, BYD also employs quiet behind-the-scenes optimizations. Automation helps keep labor costs down. In-house software development avoids exorbitant licensing fees, and everything is tested rigorously to ensure that an unfortunate recall won't wipe out profits. The result? They can confidently sell the Seagull at a price that seems more fit for a motorbike, not a fully electric automobile. So, the price is mind-blowing, and the range is surprisingly adequate. But can you trust something this cheap and this new? BYD isn't new to the world of EVs. They've been manufacturing electric buses, trucks, and cars for years in China, often operating out of sight to the Western mainstream. That extensive experience paid dividends here. The electric motors, batteries, and control systems in the Seagull draw from proven engineering. Think of it like trickle-down reliability. The knowledge gleaned from higher-end models and commercial vehicles filters into more modest projects. Early Chinese owners of the Seagull have reported minimal issues, praising how it handles daily commutes, grocery runs, and short weekend trips. Of course, time will tell if it can maintain that reliability 5 or 10 years down the line. But early signals look promising for a budget EV. You might brace yourself for a stripped-down safety package, but the Blade battery alone goes a long way toward dispelling fire hazards, a consistent worry among EV skeptics. Standard safety features like airbags, anti-lock brakes, and stability control systems add another layer of reassurance. It's not brimming with every advanced driver assist system out there, but for day-to-day city driving, it's designed to keep you secure. One of the Seagull's biggest advantages is that its modest powertrain means you're unlikely to push it to extremes, further reducing risk. This is purely a commuter car, not a track toy, encouraging a calmer style of driving that naturally avoids high-speed collisions. The Seagull's strongest appeal is how it completely redefines the notion that electric vehicles must be priced like luxury items. By offering an EV at around $11,000, despite that remarkably low sticker cost, it still manages to deliver an estimated 200-mile range, comfortably covering the daily distances most drivers face. Thanks to its compact design, this hatchback thrives in busy urban environments, darting in and out of cramped streets and parking spaces with ease. And when the battery does run low, the car's fast-charging capability can take it from nearly empty to roughly 80% charged in about half an hour, meaning you'll spend less time waiting and more time on the move. The Seagull has already hit Chinese dealerships with success that caught international media attention. Next comes the question, Will it make waves beyond China's borders? BYD has made it clear they're eyeing expansion, particularly in regions like Europe and Latin America, where the appetite for affordable EVs is climbing. The United States remains uncertain. Steep tariffs and tricky regulations often block Chinese automakers. Yet, with enough consumer demand, BYD might try to crack that nut as well. If they do, they could rattle a market that's grown accustomed to the idea that an electric vehicle should cost at least $25,000 to $30,000 on the very low end. If a Chinese hatchback rolls in at under half that, the ripples could reshape the entire conversation about what an EV should be, who can afford it, and how quickly we can transition away from internal combustion engines. Sure, the Seagull might not be a track beast or a luxury status symbol, but that's exactly what makes it so potent a disruptor. It appeals to a massive segment of drivers who care less about brand prestige and more about practical affordability. And that's a game changer for the shift toward cleaner energy, a shift that depends on getting more people behind the wheel of zero-emission vehicles. This is also a silent declaration of war on the status quo. For years, big automakers have claimed that EV technology naturally equals a higher price. BYD is effectively calling that bluff and showing exactly how ruthless cost engineering, vertical integration, and battery innovation can knock that price down. While larger brands scramble to answer with their budget EVs, the Seagull calmly continues to rack up sales, adding momentum to a global wave of affordable electrification. In terms of the broader context, protecting our air quality, trimming fossil fuel dependency, and meeting climate goals, the Seagull stands out as a draft blueprint of how to get mainstream consumers off the gas pump. If everyday families can switch to EVs without doubling their car payments, the future might just arrive faster than we ever thought. The BYD Seagull embodies a puzzle piece that many believed impossible. An electric car that's truly cheap, doesn't skimp on practicality, and is already on the road today. It's not just another Chinese EV designed to remain a local curiosity. This little hatchback has global aspirations, and if it spreads, it could rewrite the automotive landscape. For veteran automakers, it's a wake-up call. No longer can they bank on brand loyalty or rely on the assumption that EV adoption is slow due to high costs and limited range. The Seagull checks both boxes admirably. The cost is low, and the range is halfway decent. That leaves legacy companies rushing to justify why their offerings are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars more. For regular drivers, though, this is nothing short of thrilling. A future where electric cars are as ubiquitous and financially accessible as a typical small sedan is suddenly visible on the horizon, and it's coming from a brand that's been quietly perfecting its craft for years. So here's the final question. Is the Seagull the scariest EV to date? Maybe it is, because what's more terrifying to entrenched giants than an underdog that gives the masses exactly what they need? Without the glitz, without the inflated price, but with all the essentials to drive into a cleaner tomorrow. The hum of that little electric motor might sound more like a whisper today, but if competitors don't act fast, that sound could quickly build into a roar, and one that's set to echo across the global automotive industry for years to come.